Welcome to the Blue Green Ocean Road podcast. Somebody. And here's George.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Blue Green Ocean Road with your host, David R. Stender. How are you?
What's up, buddy?
Still winter here. Huh?
Yeah, it's windy too, I hear.
Yeah.
It's
like
I can hear
like
wind outside.
It's cold. It's supposed to be like 40 degrees, but the wind makes it much colder.
Yeah, this afternoon.
Well, this afternoon, like 50, maybe 55. It'd still be cold. So what are you doing? What's new?
I finished this week. Kills Out of Flower.
What do you
I finished
think?
the book and I watched the movie last night. Did you watch it?
No.
You didn't watch the movie?
No, I'm vaguely familiar with the story, but I didn't see or read either.
It happens all the time. It happens now. It happens constantly. You go after people who got money, right? You cause them, and if you got money, you're screwed, man. They will
The
take
vultures
it, they will kill you.
circle.
Don't get in the fucking way.
Yeah.
No, that's it. That's it. Keep your head down. Those Indians said that. The chief had this line. He said, we were good before we had stuff. And we'll be all right again once we lose all this shit. And they did. I mean, the boom's over. They don't even have oil there now. Actually, there's a wind farm there. They're starting to do wind farm. And the Indians are saying, hey, mineral rights. And they said, we're not mining. And turns out that's not, they don't have rights to that. The wood farm is just going to run without giving too much to the Indians. But don't feel bad for them because they got casinos now, which is better.
That tribe in particular, or just Indians in general?
No,
natives in general have.
In Oklahoma.
All right.
Yes. They got that land, and it's shit. It's no good for farming. It's no good for fucking anything, right? But they took it because they figured that the U.S. government would finally just leave them alone, just let them be. And it was the case for a long time. They were cool. Nobody gave a shit about their pile of rocks, in Oklahoma. And then they found oil. And they actually had set it up. When they got the reservation, for some reason there was a smart lawyer, a nice guy, white guy, put that in the deal. Like whatever's underneath is yours too. Just in the government, yeah, right. It's. But once they got oil, holy shit, they were making a ton. They were millionaires, and of course, a lot of people didn't like the idea of them getting rich. But also, they just flocked there to steal from them, and. Probably the worst thing about it was they had like a stewardship. They wouldn't let the Indians spend their own money. They had like these guardians take care of it. That was a bullshit.
Wow.
But the movie was pretty close to the book. It's all just facts. All the dialogue's made up. It'd have to be because there was nobody remembers any of that. Hey, Mike.
Hey, there he is on the Starship Kennedy is pilotless.
Nobody's driving the fucking thing.
Well,
the spaceship's out of control.
I think he's fixing his tea.
Space
you
tea.
Should give us a demo on fixing tea.
Hey, Mike.
How you doing?
I finished Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh, yeah? How'd you like it?
I liked it. I watched the movie. I watched it last night after I finished the book. There's one part, in the end where DiCaprio and his wife are talking after the trial. That didn't happen. That's just an exhibition dump. There were looks on his way after he got sentenced and he got taken away to jail.
Mm-hmm.
There was a look, and obviously she didn't want nothing to do with him anymore. But that's when she finally split with him.
Right. Huh.
He was a sad character because he was just trying. If he didn't go along with that king, he'd be dead. He was trying to straddle the line somehow.
Right. I thought the actors did a really good job of acting. They were believable. That's what I thought.
I was ignoring it. Yeah, DiCaprio's acting is good because he's an old man and he's playing a young man.
Yeah, and he's playing a character he hadn't played before, who was kind of dumb, I mean, I don't know. I thought a good character study. De Niro was good too.
That happens everywhere, Mike. If you got money, look the fuck out. And if you're getting in the way of rich people with their money, look the fuck out. Just look the fuck out. Just stay poor and keep your head down, and maybe they'll let you be all right.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, most people want to spend their money, and then wealth is a whole other thing. Being rich is one thing, but maintaining wealth is a whole other discipline that you have to guard yourself against, because when you have money, vultures will circle.
Those vultures are unique though because they're deadly. It's like they don't care. They don't feel the empathy, nothing, man.
No, that's yeah.
What do you think
World
about
full
that?
of predators.
Do you think that empathy is something that you learn, or is it can empathy be taught?
That's a good one. Yeah.
Well,
Nature and nurture.
the concept you can learn, but in experiencing empathy, you understand what it's really about. I don't think you can really understand what it's about until you learn, until you see it in action. I mean, I suppose there is some forms of empathy that are biological, like mothers towards children and whatnot. But in a sense, in like a community sense, these are kinds of things that you have to see and you have to learn.
I think that particular thing, there's just a defect. I mean, you're just not feeling it, I mean, it's just the way you are. So I don't know. I think that's just the way people are, some of them. They just don't have the connections aren't there. They're not going to get there. They're just not there.
Well, it's like a hierarchy of things. If you're comfortable in life, you're getting your needs met, I think you're much more likely to feel empathy to non-family members, but if you're struggling with everything, it's really hard to feel empathy to other people and other things if you're really struggling and not getting your needs met.
No,
I think
you'd
it's true.
Still have empathy, even if you're down and out and shit. It's still, it doesn't go.
Yeah, you'd have it, but would you exercise it?
It depends on how hungry you are, I suppose.
Depends on how desperate you are. If you're in a corner.
That's what I'm saying. It depends on how desperate you are.
Yeah, it depends on how desperate you are.
But given like the average person who's not starving, like the average person living in our day-to-day world that we have here, do kids learn empathy? Is it part nurture? Is it part nature? Is it both? Like everything else, I guess. I don't know.
Well, it's part both. Like when you see empathy in action, when you see people benefiting from it, and if you're yourself, everything is cool with you for the most part, you see the benefit of it. You're much more readily giving it out, emphasizing with other people.
Empathy is a feeling towards others. It's not for a gain. It's kind of a unique.
It's putting yourself be able to put yourself in someone else's.
For some people, not expecting anything back or as some kind of strategy to get through life. It's just the way you feel. You feel sad. For the people you put yourself in their situation. Yeah. You'd like to help. Probably you can't, but you at least would like to. Or that's different.
Yeah, when you're desperate, these things happen.
There's a lot of really desperate people out there who perform really generous acts because they just have empathy.
But does it happen in a greater amount or a lesser amount?
I think most people
I
are
don't
kind.
know.
It's just a handful that really fucking us all. I find that most people are all right. But I do, once in a while, you'll run across someone evil, and you don't know it until after a while. I had this one guy I knew for 3 fucking years, right? I never saw it, right? He got out of the Navy, and he came up to everybody, and he asked them, like, to borrow money, or they borrowed tape off him or something, and then he got out the next day. Nobody knew he was getting out. Everybody talked about the day they got out but him, and nobody fucking noticed it. I knew him for 3 years. He did it really slick, too. He came up to me while I was in my rack, right? And he said, "What are you doing tonight?" And I said, "I ain't going out. I'm broke." So I'm broke. So he's not going to fucking ask. So he says, "Yeah, me too. Hey, can I borrow a cassette or two?" So I let him borrow 2 cassettes. Lives on a ship. He ain't going nowhere, I thought. And then the next day, I'm going up the front. He was in a different division, but he was in supply. And this guy's, "Hey, you hear about Roberts?" I go, "No." He goes, "You got in the Navy today." I said, "Motherfucker took 2 tapes off me." The other guy goes, "He borrowed $60 off of me," right? And everybody, yeah. I'm like, no fucking shit. So there's a guy, just a snake. We went drinking together. I thought I knew him as well as I know you guys. You know what I mean? Fucking weird. You
Hold
don't
that
know
thought.
who the fuck you're sitting next to.
Hold that thought.
I'm still waiting for you 2 to fuck me up.
Well,
I'm
how do you know we
beginning to
haven't
trust you,
been?
though. I'm beginning to believe that
How do you
maybe
know we
guys
have?
are all right. You know?
We're all
Kettle was
parasites
whistling.
in some way, Dave. You know.
I had to stop that kettle from whistling. So it's Saturday. Saturday, because Dave vapes, Saturday's the only day I wake and bake.
Bake.
Got my vapor right here.
So, like, where were you last weekend, Mike?
Oh, I was in Providence. I had that the show, the Journal of Light Construction at the convention center, and you know I had planned on going on my cell phone and talking to you guys and showing you around, but then I had to get stuff ready I had to work.
That's too bad. You need like a GoPro and just stick it to your fucking forehead or something. Just
Yeah, I know. I got to get one
when
eventually.
Google glasses come out, right? When you finally get one of those, you're just a pair of eyeballs. That's like next year. Next year the podcast we'll just wear eyes, you know. And then like in 2 years we'll have like implants on our fucking head. You know.
As long as I can keep my spaceship, I'm happy.
Oh, your spaceship will be awesome by then. It'll be like all kinds of shit there. It'll be like well-oiled Viking women and shit
Oh,
that you can actually feel.
well-oiled Viking women in space. Yes.
And that's where you'll be. You'll never show up here again. Where's Mike? He's in his spaceship.
Those guys.
Well-oiled Viking women.
I can
spaceship.
well-oiled Viking women or George and Dave.
Yeah. Fuck them guys.
Oh man.
Not oiled at all.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. Yep. So now Mikey's not here. Mikey's sick.
Mikey's sick?
Yeah, he's got a really bad cold.
Oh, that sucks.
Yep.
Well, he's with the public all day.
Yeah.
That's right.
I know.
All kinds of shit jumping in his back seat, breathing all over him.
What George, what do you call that? Dumping fluid. What was that word?
It's a teacher's term. Your wife should know this. Geebing.
Geebing.
You know, they call it kids. They geeb on everything. It's just like an exchange. It's like laying out their bodily fluids on everything. You know, sneezing, coughing. You know, like wiping their nose, not cleaning their hands from the bathroom. You know,
Yeah.
and then touching surfaces. They geeb all over everything. I can't believe you haven't heard that one before.
No,
It's a
never heard
teacher.
it. I like it though.
That might be a Cranston teacher's thing.
Yeah, maybe. But it's just, it's you know, it's. I don't think it gets any better outside. You know, maybe by degree after you leave school, but you know, certainly in public.
I geeb all over the place.
Yeah, grown-ups geeb all over the place too.
I did a Farmer Brown outside just before I came in here. I just
What's
shot
this?
it onto the lawn. Big one.
Dave's geebing all over his lawn.
I geebed all over the lawn, and the rest was on my sleeve.
Ah, Jesus.
And then I got a coffee.
Uh, Me, I'm obsessed with pissing outside. You know, I mean, it's my goddamn right, resident American.
Yeah, you don't have to
Go out
aim.
in the backyard and fucking hang your snake and pee.
That's right. You
No,
can make that. You can make an arch. You can make it go up when you get some pressure. You go, ooh, look how high that is. Ooh, can't
If
do
you
that in the
can't-
bathroom.
If you can't walk out back and pee, you live where you live. It's too crowded.
Oh, yeah,
it's
no.
just about like that. It's just about like that. Here,
Dude,
now.
I'm a god. I am king of the stealth piss.
Uh,
I back into a pine tree. I backed in. It looked like the pine tree was peeing. You know, it's one of them Christmas tree ones. I got a couple of fucking things down my back, right? But that was the only thing to do. It was the daytime, you know, and that's it. I just had those.
yeah.
So, yeah, I just back into it. And then all the braces around. It's like almost up against the truck. And it's all of the really, they're kind of like the sharp ones, too. It's those Christmas tree pine trees.
So you're doing all that to be stealthy, and then the neighbors are going, "Hey, look, there's a guy behind a tree pissing."
No, I'm at work. I'm guarding a station. They don't have a bathroom out there.
Hey,
right? And
you're
I
still
drank
in.
a giant coffee, and I was fucking hurting. I wasn't going to get oof.
You're still
About
at
a
that
piss
campus,
jug.
right?
Huh?
You're still at that campus that used to be Allendale Insurance.
Yeah.
What is it now? I drove by there the other day. What is that?
There's still a property. It's just like suites. We got a couple of businesses in there. Most of it's empty. Because,
But you're not
after COVID,
actually working there, though. Are you there? Do you spend time working
I
there?
do a building. That one's it's just open. Like there's a French company that does data analytics. They make sense out of data, which is when you're losing all your data to them, they're the ones sorting it out,
Yeah,
figuring out.
That's what my daughter's latest freaking degree direction now is data analytics.
Smart. That's
So
smart.
I guess that's a thing now. I guess that's you can get a degree program
Data's
now.
everything.
Data analytics.
It's all stolen. All yours is in there. They just got to get there. They got to put them in little bins. You know.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
It's kind of like
heavy on
accounting.
it's heavy on statistics though. Like all science is based on statistical analysis of data.
It's more like marketing. It's marketing. It's targeting.
Well, there's
marketing.
that too, of course. That's an
Oh,
aspect
it's
of it.
all that. There's no reason to do anything else.
So I had this dream a few weeks back. I wanted to tell you about. I dreamt that I went to see you down at the campus, and there were all these like business meetings in there, but there were like inspirational speakers in each room talking to a bunch of suits. And all the suits had different colors because they had different ranks, and it turned out to be this really weird cult going on in that building there that you were guarding. And I tried to get out, but I couldn't get out because now it was like, I was like some infiltrator, and I was trying to get in touch with you because you were out at the gate. You didn't know any of this stuff. You were just being a guard. It was
Did he
wild.
help you?
Yeah.
Did he help you or did he turn you in?
No, what ended up happening was there's some kind of fire or something, and everybody escaped it out onto the street.
Who like to stand?
Kind of.
Yeah, that guy got out. If he had just hit the button and sealed himself in, none of this would have happened. There'd have been no book.
Right. Right. But it was one of those long, involved dreams that's long like a movie, and it keeps going on, and I'm trying to escape and trying to get out of this. I'm trying to I put on like the colored jacket of the people in the room, and I'm looking around like it's fucked up.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was in a way because I got out though. I succeeded. Like in the end, I infiltrated and I succeeded. But it was weird. There's some kind of cult activity going on in there. I swear, man.
Well, they're just insure factories.
Insurance, man, that's a cult right there.
They hide themselves as insurance companies, but they're really just some kind of. They're the IM activity is what they are. They're those guys.
So long as the check clears, and like I said, I'm not getting involved. I don't want to know nothing. Oh.
You want to escape? Sorry, Mike, man. I got that check to cash.
I'll help you after I get back from the bank. There's your empathy right out the door.
My empathy ends with my paycheck. It's like if you didn't have to depend on that paycheck, not specifically you, Dave, but if that guard didn't have to depend on that paycheck, he could exercise more empathy. Even though he has it, he won't exercise it because his distress level is down here as a wage slave, when he could be up here if he had wealth. It'd be much easier to exercise.
But that's a different thing. Acting on your empathy and having empathy are two different. I'm not really talking about acting on your empathy. I'm really talking about having it.
Yeah. At least I'm not doing any harm. I wouldn't even think of it, you know?
No,
whether you have empathy and not acting on it, that you still have empathy.
There's familial empathy that's intrinsic, and then there's learned empathy that you learn through the doings of others, the effects, the affect on the community and people around you.
I think of empathy
as those things are harder to conceive in some people, and you have to see it, witness it, and experience it to really understand it and see the benefit of it.
I'm convinced. You're saying benefit again. It's not for gain. If you see gain in it, it's a different thing.
There's much more to gain if you don't have empathy.
Yes, ultimately, but there's a certain lot. Yes, we do it a lot of times for like our social status and whatnot. It's like
I think
there's a certain percentage of that.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the innate feeling of being able to put yourself in someone else's position and understanding it and feeling for it, rather than trying to gain from it or how you use it, how you act upon it or don't act upon it.
So you're talking about ultimate altruism.
No, not altruism. Having nothing to do with trade. Nothing to do with trade.
George.
No, but not altruism as far as empathy goes. Yes, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But there's a certain amount of social status that people seek.
Right, now we're talking about something different now.
You're talking about gain again. You're gaining social status. We're not talking about that.
How can you divorce yourself from the gain, though? But who's divorcing themselves? Ultimately, who is divorcing themselves from the ultimate act as opposed to how much social gain?
Being able to feel someone else's pain.
Yeah, ultimately, of course, but people do.
Well, they get along
society. But again, that's acting on it. That's not what we're talking about. It's the feeling, how you feel. Can that be learned? How you feel about empathy and isolated from rather how you're going to act on it or what you're going to gain or not gain from it.
Yes, through experience, you do something nice for someone, you feel like I did something right. I wouldn't normally do it. I wouldn't normally do it because they're not.
It's not the feeling. It's how to get along society. This is navigation now.
But isn't that better though? I mean, yes,
empathy. You don't have it. You're pretending to have it, so you can make some gain for yourself too. Like this, you got a better stat. People in church do it all the time. You're pretending to help people, they just do it for that. They look like they got but they don't have any.
There's like a transcendence of the biological need for empathy, which you do have for familial things and things that you feel, but there's also learned empathy that you feel, you see the effects of it, you gain from the effects of it, that at least on the level that it's doing the right thing, that it makes you feel like you're doing the right thing.
See,
I don't like spotting flies.
You keep moving away from empathy.
I will try to capture a fly and put it outside. I don't like swatting flies. I don't like killing things. As much as I'm a hunter, I do not like killing things. I hunt because I have to. But I have this feeling like I don't want to, like I can put myself in the other's position.
Yeah, he's alive too. What
and that's fuck? Has nothing to do with trade or gain or,
It's just a feeling.
It's just a feeling.
It's the way I react to certain things. It's a reaction. It's how you react. You can learn to have empathy to appear to have it. You can do that, and you need to have it. Like say you got a job as a social worker, you got no empathy, but you better pretend to have some. So part of your job is going in, and playing the game. It's part of the job.
But I mean, if you feel good about letting that's still a gain. It's still an emotional gain.
No, it's not that I feel good about letting a fly go. I don't want them flies around. It would feel better if the fly wasn't there, but it's not about how it makes me feel to capture the fly. It's the first feeling, the feeling that I don't want to kill the fly.
and
It's
which
not a
is a
gain.
gain.
It's not has
Which
nothing
is-
to do with gain.
Which is a gain. It's an
I
emotional
don't think
gain.
you really feel empathy.
I'm beginning to believe that
I'm
too.
beginning
I
to
don't
think you don't understand what
empathy,
we're talking
George.
about.
George pretends to have empathy to get along in society. What we're
Right.
saying, I mean, it's fine. You've got plenty of it.
So you're saying I
You're
have
good.
no
You're a
empathy
great
whatsoever,
guy. You're a
other
good
than
friend. It's
my
just so
understanding
weird
that there's a gain involved means I don't have gain.
Well,
empathy,
I don't
not
right?
think
Is
you
that what you're
understand.
saying?
I don't think you
Does
have
it
the
make
same,
you feel?
No,
What
I don't
gain?
think you have the same idea about it that Dave and I have. That's what I'm saying. I don't think you understand it the way
I
we
think
do.
you do, but you just don't want to admit that there's an emotional
No, see,
gain
that's
to you acting
exactly
on
what
it.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
You don't understand. You think you
No,
understand because you think you
that's not
understand
true at
everything,
all.
but you
It's not a
don't.
plot. It's,
Ah, see.
I'm not
And
trying
you're,
to
what
gain
what are you
anything.
gaining by this,
We're
Mike?
not
What are you
gaining
gaining?
anything.
You're feeling like you have this emotional superiority because
No,
No,
it
you're
has nothing to
sure
do
that
with
I don't have
superiority.
either.
In fact,
empathy. You
people
feel
without
like,
empathy
look
can
at you.
become more superior in society than people with
You
empathy.
have
Has
absolutely
nothing
Well,
to do with
that's your
superiority.
assumption because it emotionally makes you feel better to think that way.
No,
That's
you
your
just don't,
gain.
You just don't get it. You just don't. You don't
Oh
have it.
man,
You don't
Holy
feel this
shit.
thing that we feel.
You're so sure about
Holy
this.
fucking shit.
You're feeling like
Holy
emotionally
shit.
superior because,
no,
yeah,
no,
you
it
don't
has
feel
nothing to
true
do with
empathy because I understand human behavior
that. You
in a
don't.
way that you
That's
don't.
the thing. You don't. You don't
You don't want to
understand
accept
empathy.
You don't want to accept responsibility for your behavior. That you don't act on empathy all the time. That there's an emotional
God.
gain, a
Has nothing
component
to
to
do with
it.
We're not talking about the acting or the non-acting or the gain emotionally, financially, whatever. We're talking about the initial feeling, and you don't
Yes.
seem to understand that.
You're so convinced that I don't because I understand that there's other elements to this.
See, you don't understand.
No, you don't. There's
See.
no other element to empathy. There's no
There is.
gain from empathy. There's none of that.
No.
Then you move into pretending you have empathy for gain.
I think you pretend that you have empathy, then it's exclusive
Exactly.
and
You
it's
don't
pure and stuff
understand.
like this. No, you don't understand. You don't understand how
How do you think you
your
understand
ego
what I
is
feel
affected.
more than I do when you don't even have
Because your
empathy to begin with?
because your ego won't allow you to understand any other aspect of this. Because you're so emotionally invested in, that you're so right about this that you won't accept any other point of view in this thing. That's the trap you set for
It's not
yourself.
really a point of view.
And you gain
It's
some
an
kind of
initial feeling.
social significance
Like,
or
you
that
know,
social
just how
feeling,
I
social
feel.
superiority
You have an initial
because,
feeling.
yes.
No, it's just
Of
how I
course.
feel, man. I can't help that. I can't.
If
Well,
someone
of
It's like,
course
slaps
that
you, you
is.
feel shock.
You're
Then
so
feel
sure.
anger.
Just because I understand there are other aspects to this, you're so sure that I don't have it at
You
all.
don't
What kind of
understand that there are other
nonsense is that?
aspects to this. We're not talking about any other aspects to this. We're
because you
talking
don't
about the
understand what we're
feeling.
talking about.
I
That's
think you're
why
deluding
we're
yourself to
wondering why
thinking
you don't
that way.
understand what we're
I'm trying to point
say.
out that you're deluding that there's not other
No, I
aspects to
think
this.
you can't understand how we feel because you don't feel the same way.
That's
That's
exactly
okay.
what I'm telling you.
Not
That's
everybody-
exactly what my point is to you, Mike. It's like you're refusing to allow any other aspect about this.
I
that
don't
there are
feel
other
the same
components
way
to
that you
this.
do about it. Exactly. I don't feel
Well,
the same
maybe
way
you
that
don't
do about it.
understand. Maybe you don't understand this about yourself. Maybe you
I
don't.
understand it about myself. I don't understand it about you.
Wow, you feel like I don't have empathy?
No,
You feel like I don't
you
understand
have-
empathy, or that you can't
understand-
accept that I understand there are other aspects, there
No,
are
you don't
personal
understand
things.
our definition of it. That's what I'm saying. You don't understand
Well,
our definition.
that's
You
ridiculous.
just
Of
don't.
course I know what
You're not picking
empathy
up
is.
on
Of
it.
course
No,
I
you
experience empathy. Of course I exercise empathy, but you can't accept the fact that there are other components that you gain from it.
We're not
That
talking
you are
about
gaining
that.
from it.
We're not talking about that.
Yeah,
It
you
has
are.
nothing to do with gain. It has
Yeah,
nothing to
you
do
are.
with
It's
loss.
like it's
What
denial,
we're talking
baby.
about doesn't have anything to do with those things.
No,
What we're
it
talking
doesn't.
about is like the same feeling, initial feeling, like if someone punches you and you get angry without thinking about it, you just get angry. It's a feeling. I don't know.
Yeah, and so you
look at
feel
a
like,
beautiful sunrise and you feel.
and so I
that
don't
it's
understand
beautiful.
this, and you don't understand the gain that you get from
We're not
helping
talking
someone
about
out.
the gain
That
that we
there's a
get
certain
from it. We're
accident.
talking about that initial feeling.
Yes, I know about that. Who doesn't know about that? Why do you assume that
you
I
don't know
don't?
about that.
Because I understand that there are other aspects involved, and you're living in denial that they're not.
No.
Okay,
What-
it's just a definition. We're
It's
just
like-
having trouble with the definition.
Jesus.
I don't define it that way, but that's
How
fine.
ridiculous is that?
It's a definition. Is
That's
George.
Jesus, that's incredible.
It's just my definition of it is just a little more fundamental, like just without
Well,
anything
yeah,
else.
The
I
beginning.
thought we'd
The
be a little bit
beginning.
more nuanced about this. Yes, of course
No,
there's
we're
empathy.
talking
Yes, of
about the
course I feel
beginning.
empathy. But to deny that there is other aspects to this is ridiculous.
But we're not talking about the other aspects. We're talking about the
Yeah,
initial
we
feeling.
were.
Talk about just the
Yeah,
feeling.
No, you're
of
talking about
course.
the other aspects. Dave and I are talking about the initial feeling. That's the
Yes, I
difference.
know. And are you aware of these things? That's what I'm
Yes,
trying to
of course.
point
There's
out.
all kinds of other
Well, then
aspects. to
say
every
that.
part of
Don't,
human
you're
behavior.
sitting there making this ridiculous statement that I
You
don't
don't
understand about
what
empathy.
we're talking about.
See,
That's all I'm
again,
saying.
that's ridiculous. Of course, I understand what you're talking about, but also trying to interject that there are other aspects to this that either you're living in denial about or that you
It's
want
not
to.
conditional. It's not
Okay,
conditional.
but
What we're talking about is not
Yes.
conditional. That's all.
Well, ultimately, yes, but of course, you don't understand how this.
okay, it's just like where it
You've
started. We
studied.
were talking
Have
about
you-
evil
Do
Do
people.
you study psychology? Have you ever studied psychology?
Yeah, I
I've been
took psych
studying
course,
people my whole life, and I ain't figured them out yet.
and nobody else has either.
Well, I'm trying to help you understand basic human behavior. Yes,
Well-
there is empathy. Yes, and there are levels of empathy. Yes, there are biological levels of empathy. There's altruism. There are levels of empathy that we all feel and stuff like this. But in exercising our empathy, yes, there are some. It feels really good, but there are also some social currency that we get with that as well.
Yeah,
That
I
we
agree.
either
I
we
didn't say
live in
that didn't
denial about that. We can't live in denial that
Nobody's in
doesn't
denial
exist.
about that.
Okay.
Nobody's
Well,
denying
it
that.
seems like you are.
No,
You can't see this in other people.
Just hold on a second.
We just
Just
didn't
hold
want
on
to
I'm
go
for
there.
what?
asking about is that initial feeling, is that learned, or is it are you born with it? And I'm not talking about all the other stuff, because an infant doesn't know anything about that.
Well, I'm trying to explain how learned empathy can develop. Do you understand how learned empathy can develop, or do
So
you
you're
think
on the
there's no
camp
such
of
thing
learned
as learned empathy?
But is it
You
in?
think
Is
there's-
it in? But the question is it
Nature or
already in
nurture?
that infant, or do they have to learn it?
Yeah, well,
That's
there's,
the question.
like you said before, there is intrinsic biological empathy that we have as human beings, but there's also learned empathy.
Right.
And it takes on different forms. It takes on feeling good. It takes on creating social currency, like an established, like social feedback that yes, we are rewarded for feeling empathy and stuff like this. These are other that we develop through learning, through seeing empathy in the world, to seeing how people react to empathy. There's a learned response to this that has other dimensions other than just feeling the good intrinsic value of empathy. There's social currency involved as well.
That's the nurture. And the other, when we're talking about nature, you're talking about nurture. So you're on the nurture side.
Well, I'm talking about both. We cannot deny that there is both in the world.
Can we learn the nature part? Can we nurture the nature part?
Well,
or does that just have to be you have this level you're born with, and that's
you are
you
predisposed to
other
this
stuff, but because we know some people are born without it.
And they learn to have empathy.
Or is it a different sense of empathy? Is it a different sense of empathy?
They learn to
than
behave
yours.
like they have it.
They respond to different stimuli than you do. Are you talking about
people who don't have any stimuli that way? They don't give a fuck all. They just don't care. They just don't. They don't care about people. There's
right. Well, yeah, because they're responding to a different set of stimuli that they were intrinsically born with.
I mean, I think you can have too much.
That's
empathy.
nature.
Yes, of course you can. But at a certain point, if you're not taking care of yourself, yes, and at a certain point, if that's all you're responding to, then are you taking care of yourself? Are you taking care of your family? Of what needs is it satisfying really?
I don't know. I mean, if you don't have it, you can better satisfy your physical needs because you really don't give a fuck where you can rip people off and not care about it, As long as you're strategic and stay out of jail, then you're a good man,
Right, but you're. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Whereas
you're
someone who might have too much of it would not be able to take from that other guy because he knows that other guy worked really hard and
right.
Whatever. Jesus, he busted his ass for that money. I don't have any right to take it from him. But so, but I wonder. I don't know.
So you think that people can?
I wonder if the nurture
be biologic. Yeah, I know. Well, of course, there's that component. But do you think that there are other people that biologically have a different sense of empathy?
Yes.
Like they have a different set of biological needs that they have to go out. And so these are what we would call deviants that would call out and say they enjoy the suffering of others because it gives them an emotional boost, like just people, in the way some people would feel empathy for people because it's a natural response to people that I want to do good for people, that it makes me feel good. Or is there, or is there a different set of stimuli that they're responding to?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
If they don't have that.
You guys had a good point about this. I'm sorry if I complicated it.
No, it's all right, man.
No, this is fun, man. Are you kidding?
No,
this is fun. Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna light another fire in a minute. You guys start settling down.
Well, go ahead. All right, go ahead. Fire away, Dave.
I'll flame
fire
this
away.
Motherfucker.
Flame me out. Make me burst into flame.
No, I want to talk about the things I want to talk about.
All right, go on.
I was gonna say, I didn't do it right. I had a joke, like I said. I says I watched the movie and read this book, and you said, yeah, how was it? And I was gonna say I don't want to talk about it. Then I didn't do it because I did want to talk about it.
Fuck.
I should have went for the joke.
Yeah. Hey, George, I know you're looking at this because I'm looking at it too. The 3-body problem.
Yeah.
Have you seen that, Dave? Do you know what that is? Have you read that book?
3-body problem? No.
It's a good book. The television thing they're doing about it, as far as I remember, is a little deviated from it, but it's good one. Science fiction.
I like the overall concept, but I think sometimes when they dramatize books like this, they play off more on let's say the drama than the actual science fiction element to it. And it's all the interpersonal drama that the show seems to be caught up with.
I know. I don't remember all of that. I remember some of it though. Like the girl who heard the signal and her personal drama. But anyway, what I really liked was there's a scene where the nanofibers cut that ship up. Did you see that one?
It was very interesting. Yes, I've never seen anything like that before. That was
really.
That was. I was trying to imagine how that would work. That they would something that small could hold itself together for so long to cut through all that.
That's why it's science fiction.
Yeah, and I was like, and so you can only suspend judgment so long, and then, you're relying a lot on interpersonal drama, and I'm getting kind of bored with the show,
Yeah.
But the overall
as far as
concept,
special effects go, I thought that was a good one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, Dave, check it out. It's on Netflix. Or read the book. Read the book, The 3-Body Problem.
3-body problem, all right.
You like the book?
I've got red shirts next.
Oh yeah.
Well, red shirts, they're the ones. It's good. Yeah. It sounds good. Like red shirts are more interesting than you would think. In fact,
I thought they were just the guy who
like all the captain shit and whatnot. When they're running around punching people and taking phaser shots and whatnot. Ain't Captain doing that? It's fucking red shirts.
Yeah.
They're beaming red shirts now. Captain's staying up there. That's just that's because it's TV. No, the fucking off. No.
That's right.
Well, the one thing is like the captain with us is like if the captain decides he's gonna fucking take the ship into like wicked danger, we all gotta go with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna hang out back here. You can't.
But it's always been like that. You send the peons, to do the dirty work. They're the cannon fodder.
There was this an Indian commander of a destroyer in World War II, and he came at a battleship, and what he kept doing, he was steering towards the wake of the last hit. Like they adjusted, like he just kept going. The minute the splash was, he'd steer towards it and go into that one, and then they then they'd have to just fuck, right. And he got pretty close, and he wrecked him. He got a fucking torpedo in and shit, and then they blew his fucking ship into it. So, but it was a pretty wild charge. That's what he did. Captain's going in. Fuck this guy.
What was his name again? Is a famous.
It was in one.
But they named a destroyer. I think they named a destroyer class. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. All right. Where was it in that? I don't know. It wasn't them, but it was a book like that.
But they named a destroyer class after him, didn't they? Those the Navy did. They named because Stamets. What's his? Does that sound familiar?
Nimitz.
Stamets. No, not Nimitz.
Stamets. Nimitz was the admiral of the South Pacific. He took command after Pearl Harbor got bombed. He was the new commander, and he stayed there till the end of the war. So his wife called him and says, "Congratulations on getting command of the fleet." And he says, "Darling, the fleet's on the bottom of the ocean."
Well, anyway, that's a good story. Anyway, I think I vaguely remember the story of how that captain and with his fleet of destroyers held off the Japanese armada, until more help could have arrived or something like that. And they sacrificed several destroyers. And yeah, it's a great story.
Yeah, Guadalcanal was like that. The last one was an Admiral Lee. He actually was a descendant of Robert E. Lee, like a cousin. And he was commander of the Washington. It was a battleship. And there was another one, the South Dakota was behind them. That's the only thing the Navy had left. Everything else had gotten bombed and sunk. The Iron Bottom Sound. It was just like this slugfest between us and the Japanese. They lost as many. Actually, it was an even score. It was sinking shit. But this Admiral Lee, he had actually won a couple of gold medals in the Olympics for shooting. He was an Olympiad. And he understood radar. He was the first guy to just accept all that. And he invented combat information system where the guys with the radar would tell the gunner instead of relaying it to the captain and the captain telling where to point. He just said, "No, you talk to that guy," and then fucking hit shit because he was an Olympic hitter. He could hit shit. So now he's driving a battleship and he sunk a battleship. He just screwed through Guadalcanal. He just came through. He kept firing. He fucking sunk a battleship. That was the last one. That was done. They're finally done. But that was a slugfest. There was one. There was a light cruiser. It was the Helena. It had just they said it was like these 5-inch guns. It's just like it was like a machine gun, right? All these turrets. You just come by. That's what it looked like when it came by at night. And there was the Juno too. On the way back, it got torpedoed and just disappeared. And it's famous for the three brothers, the Sullivan brothers. Oh, I think there were 5 of them. There were 5 brothers on that ship, and they all died. And
wow.
The thing is the ship blew up and so completely, right, that they just kept going. They were already limping after the night. They were just trying to get into port. So the captain of the Helena, he just said, "Well, let's just keep going. There's no way there's anybody there." But a tail section got knocked off, and a lot of people were in the water. There was a lot of sailors in the water, and they were out there 3 days. They got eaten by sharks, just like the Indianapolis thing later. It was all just a fucking nightmare. Yeah, Guadalcanal, that was fucked up. And my uncle was in the Navy then. He was in Pearl Harbor, my Uncle Charlie, and all that. He never talked about any of it. I don't even know what ship he was on, which I'd like to have known, or maybe I wouldn't, because it doesn't seem like any of the ships were like a good thing to be on. The Helena got sunk. They were they ran out of flashless, and they started doing the regular gunpowder, and then they just it's a big flash, and they ate 2 torpedoes and got sunk finally later. All them ships, because we didn't have carriers yet. It was right in the middle. We'd sunk all of Japan's, and we didn't have any. We were just building up, and so for a while there. It was just
yes, and
that was the end of it with guns.
Yep.
Just finding
That's
each other at
carriers. Carriers are the king of the Navy. Yeah.
night. In the daytime.
Yeah.
But at night, no. And what the Japanese were trying to do is get troops onto Guadalcanal because there's the Marines there. And so they just sailed down. They did some crazy shit. They actually grounded troop carriers just to get something on shore.
And then that story, the land part of Guadalcanal is pretty wild too.
Yeah, that is too. But for the Navy, it was like for every Marine, 3 sailors died in that one. That was like the worst for the sailors. Because it was just, big guns shooting at each other at night. Confusion and just... There's a lot of confusion, actually. There's not much known about it. There were people there, but...
Right.
Just,
no satellites tracking everybody and keeping score.
No. Hardly any... The Japanese used night vision. They didn't have radar. At first, this is fucked up. A lot of the prejudice in the Navy was the Japanese couldn't see at night because they had squinty eyes. Right? That didn't last long. But it was a thing there for a minute. It's like anything.
Japanese
doing.
were great on jungle warfare. Yeah. They were great. Self-sacrifice and commitment. Yeah,
they were great at everything. The Japanese,
even though
like everybody else, only more so.
Fuck yeah, man! I got a Honda. It's
exactly.
The shit. Fucking A, man.
Yeah.
I had a Mitsubishi.
Even though they had
Mitsubishi
the what?
The Zero.
Yeah.
Pearl Harbor.
That was decent, but because they didn't have any armor for the pilot, that's what their flaw was.
It was just fast.
It was they lost too many good pilots because they said, well, they should be, in the position of sacrificing for the cause and whatnot.
They lost 4 carriers in Midway, which was like, that's how even hard to believe that even happened. And
it was a gamble, yeah.
Because that was all their pilots too. That was it. That was it. They lost a lot of guys, and they weren't sending them back to train new guys. They just keep them until they fucking
we're gone.
Gone.
Yeah, that Dan Carlin thing was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, he's great.
Of course, Dave's was very well read on these subjects as well. And, it's interesting to hear his take
like one
on
last thing about the Japanese is they would go. The captain did go down with the ship, right? And Yamamoto kept saying, "Stop doing that. We fucking need you."
It's true. I mean, it's like the captain's more important than the boat. The pilot's more important than the plane. That's our philosophy too.
Helmet.
Yeah,
that's what they did. They lashed themselves to the helmet and went down with the fucking thing.
I mean, our doctrine was a little different. We would risk people's lives just to save pilots when they go down, in the ocean and stuff like that, because that's a lot of investment, time and investment and
Japanese
experience.
would go and get their pilots too, but the captains would do this on their own, just like honor. It was
like in Shogun.
Yeah.
That's next episode tonight. Can't wait. Is that
That's
right?
A try,
Saturday night.
I'm behind, so I don't know. I'm not caught up yet. I just started that one. There's a new version of Shogun, Dave.
Yeah, you guys were talking about that. I was in this, and I got red shirts now. I'll get around to it. Like actually, in between the delivery of these books, I watched. See, it was so good, I don't remember. I watched some Netflix. I remember I said, I ain't got a book, or I'll watch this. I can't remember what the fuck I watched. It's the beginning of the week because I was waiting for this to come in. I had them, but it was like taking forever. And then I got this and red shirts the same day. I went, oh, great.
Respect,
Dave. I wanted to rent the movie. The movie fucking rental was like $20. I spent $20 for this fucking thing.
Wow.
I honor your commitment, Dave. Your commitment to knowledge.
Well, I wanted to know. This thing is true. It really happened. They left out the FBI angle. They just threw it at the end. Like that play, that's actually how the whole world saw that thing. That was J. Edgar Hoover's beginning. And that was really important. That guy, Tom, the cop, the FBI agent.
Yeah.
That was his bit. There was a lot of that. You know what? The movie was good for me because all the FBI guys were there. right? And I knew what they were doing. Like one time they show a meeting in a field, and it was dark, and if you didn't read the book, you'd go, it probably just went right by you. It went up. I knew what that was. They were all in town, but they're all pretending to be different things, you know, and just pick it up. And they would meet like that, and then talk, and get all the shit. And then they sweated. All that stuff happened to the sweating them in the fucking box and all that shit. It was pretty true.
Wow.
Stay true to it. Just that there was. You know when Molly and Ernest talk to each other after the trial, just before he goes to jail.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
Right.
She was there when he got sentenced, and he looked at her, and she gave him a cold look back like the first time, like it was like over, because the thing is, he really did love her, and everybody like said that, like he seemed to like really care for her, even though all this other shit he was doing, you know.
Even though he was working for the man.
If he didn't work for that guy, he'd have been dead. You know, like anybody who crossed that guy was over. He didn't feel no empathy. That guy wasn't going to learn any either. All he wanted was his own shit, and everybody knew you better just do what I'm fucking telling you, or you know you're gonna have dead just like everybody else who doesn't do what I tell them.
Excessive self-empathy is narcissism.
Yeah, well, it's the lack of it. You know, I mean, he doesn't care. He just
Or
cares
empathy
about
of a
himself.
different sort.
He doesn't feel anything. I know he knows it exists, and he
He
knows how to
doesn't
pretend
feel
to
the
have
way
it.
you
He
do,
pretend
though.
to have it in space.
Right. He doesn't have that initial feeling that we were talking about.
He showed empathy. He showed empathy like a son of a bitch. You know, he bought people's schools, and he did all this great shit. You know, so he looked like he had some. He just didn't. He just pretended to have empathy.
He got all the social benefits of it, though.
Yeah, that was the whole idea. So
He just didn't have that initial feeling.
he just wanted his own.
Or it was for himself.
Yep.
It's for his own ego.
Jeez, they killed kids. They had one. They did have that plot where the last two to kill would be the two children, because then all the rights. That was it. Then we got the rights. Then we got the mineral rights. You have. Fuck me. Jeez.
Well,
that's why it came up, because I'm trying to wrap my head around the fact that there was that much evil, and you know,
old age and treachery will beat out youth and good intentions all the time. It's like an axiom of the human race.
I'm gonna have to work. I'm already at the old age part, but I got to work on the treachery part a little bit better.
Because you got to want it bad enough, Mike. You have too much empathy. You got to want it bad enough. You got to have more self-empathy.
Yeah.
I just want to make it to the finish line with as little pain as possible. And just enjoy it. I'm fucking having a good time. I like where I am now.
Good.
I do, man. Like, even where my head is, it's fucking great. Like,
Good.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
Finally
I can just relax and read about evil killers, or we just be in that world. You know? What was I thinking? Still better than the one I'm in. But Red Shirts is going to be great, because that ain't even real. And it's got a Nebula Award.
It's nothing like a little escapism.
Yeah, I'm cracking that Monday. That's when I start. Yeah, I get out of that booth at 8. I go get a coffee. I find a cubicle, and then till midnight. I just have to check some shit once in a while. Just get up. You need to stretch anyway, right? Every hour.
Right.
So so out of the chair, and you know what I do rounds? There's one thing about I have keys. I jingle them. Because I run into nothing. It's like a cowbell. I call it the God bell, you know. Just pull up your pants, whatever you're doing, stop it. You know,
it's wicked smart.
I don't want to see nothing.
It's like those Bigfoot guys. You ever see that Bigfoot show where they go and find Bigfoot everywhere?
I've seen.
They were in Rhode Island. The first thing they do is they take logs and smack them on the trees, and then they holler. And then they put on these big things with lights and bells and shit, and they walk through the woods like, maybe we'll find Bigfoot. No, they're going, inside they're going, I hope we don't see any bears.
Or coyotes or skunks. You don't want to startle a skunk. You don't want to sneak up on one of them.
Yeah.
Every time I go outside, there's a crash bar at night. before I do, I bang on the door, like because you can
Yeah.
open the door and suddenly you're surrounded by skunks. Oh, that's nice. So you hit this because they don't want to know you either. They're
Right.
just gonna waddle away because they will. Not really fast either. Just kind of whatever. You know. I used to yell at them like I go skunk, right, and then their tail go up. I go skunk. Yeah, I'm a skunk. They just show me the white. They don't want
Craig,
to not that close to
I'm
me. It's
getting
like at a
ready.
distance,
I'm getting ready.
I go, hey skunk.
Back off.
That's
It's
right.
my
That's
warning.
me. That's me. But it takes like 3 days to get up another one to fill that sack, I guess. So like it's like they got one bullet. And then
Then they're helpless.
yeah, they don't want to use it. So they're willing to not do it. So long as you let them know you're around. I remember one was coming at me in an alley, in Pawtucket. It's like one of them city skunks, right? He's like waddling up, right? And I go, hey, what the fuck, right? And he kind of looks at me and goes, ah, fucking human, right? So he turns around and he starts heading back towards the road. He gets almost to the end, then like he forgets, why am I going this way? I want to go the other way. He turns around, he starts towards me again. Right? It was so weird. I'm looking at him like there's like nothing going on. When he's looking at you, it's like there's like little. It's like there's little going on. It looks like anyway. It's just like, oh yeah, you again. Like, oh yeah, you. Again. And then next time he did make it to the road. Then he goes out on the sidewalk and starts going down the main road. That's where he went.
Wow.
They were all in them mills. Them and raccoons.
Yeah.
And I yelled going down there. Any basement? Let's go. Hey, baby, what the fuck? I used to actually, I kick the door. I go, what's going on in here? That's what I used to yell, right? The boiler rooms and shit, right? They all go, whatever, rats, whatever the fuck they are.
Good.
I do that a lot, actually. I yell that. I bang a door open and yell that. Which is fine. It makes them run away. Whatever's there will run away.
Yep. Make a big noise.
I startled a few things. Sometimes I forget. Sometimes I don't feel like yelling, I just forget to yell. I startled coyotes twice. And it's always the same thing. I go, coyote. He goes, human. And we go in separate directions. This is how it works. Can't believe I ran into you. I know you're there, but I don't want to see you.
So what are you guys doing for the Easters? Are you working, Dave? Or?
No, my wife made that bread though. I had some this morning. It's like that bread.
Nice.
So I'm gonna gain another pound this week.
Well, you're always welcome here on the Easters,
Oh, that's cool.
So on the holidays, I know you like to work some holidays, but
Hey, you can swing by here too, man. I got chairs. I have that bread.
I would love to just for that, but I got a bunch of folks coming over to that. Depend upon me. And Mike, I know you guys got a big thing too, right? You got
Well, we're having a ham.
Mike's
over
got
the
a family.
homestead.
Mike's got a big family. Just me and the wife here.
Are you going to the homestead? The old
No, we generally do our own thing on Easter. None of us are that. Probably Sequoia will come over. We'll have some ham, maybe lasagna.
Well, that's the thing, it's the familial gathering. Even if it's not a religious observation so much, it's more of a familial gathering.
Yeah.
Enjoyment
This
of
is
the
all right. It's all like eggs and bunnies, whatever. That's all right. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you're paying homage to the resurrection of Jesus or anything. So
or the goddess Esther.
Yeah. But it's more like let's all get together, enjoy each other's company, have a great dinner, and sit around and laugh and stuff.
We haven't had a big group gathering on Easter in a long time. My mom usually goes with my aunt. She goes to see her sister. She'll probably be her and Colleen and Glenn this time.
She's the materfamilias of the family unit.
She's the matriarch.
Well, good. Well, you guys are always welcome here too.
I appreciate that. Likewise.
All right, man.
Good.
I got my my little go-kart, it heats up, but it just as it's getting to temperature, I get to where I'm going.
Is that still an issue there?
Forever, I like that little car. It's like a it's like a go kart.
What kind of car is it, Dave?
It's an '06 Honda. It's got like is it 200? It's pushing 300,000. It's like,
nice.
I like the way it starts. It just wants to go. That's all it wants to do is go. I gotta keep my foot on the brake, keep it from going. That's all.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a goer, eh? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I love those cars.
Know what I mean? Yeah. I got my folks have a 25-year-old Camry I'm trying to get my hands on for my son.
Nice.
That's a goer, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So those things, not much to look at, but it's a goer.
They dip them in that like on the plate if it says made in Japan. If it was done in Japan, they do it here too. They take the whole frame and dip it.
Wow.
It's no undercoating or nothing. It comes out of the factory that way. I mean, before they do anything else, they just don't rot. Mine's beautiful underneath. It's an '06. Everything else around here is turning into fucking rust, but that just
true.
Solid.
Nice.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's
and
really
they tend
nice.
to run really good for a long time.
They do. If you just keep putting oil in it, the 4-cylinder, they know their shit. They know their fucking shit, man. I love that car.
Yep. I like Toyotas. Yeah. I drive Toyotas.
Toyota's the shit. Toyota does that too.
Yep.
Oh, the undercoating. I like the new trucks. Did you see? Yeah, those little ones. I passed them around. Those pictures.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, those are great, right?
I want to get one.
Yeah, fucking $10,000.
Yeah. I know, like they have like the small ones. You can register them in Connecticut, but you can't do it in here in Rhode Island. Like those small little green bastard trucks.
Oh, really? You can't register them in Rhode Island?
No, they're a Connecticut thing. I see them around Connecticut all the time.
Shit,
but you
I
can't
want
register
one.
Them. And
I would paint it green, and I would take black duct tape and put GB on the side of it. Oh, you betcha I would.
Yeah, they're nice little things, like 4-wheel drive. I went to a maple syrup farm, and the guy used one just for bringing the buckets of sap to the sugar house. It was a little 4-wheel drive unit. It was awesome. It was
Who makes
really
that?
Nice...
Yeah. They look nice,
I think it's what used to be a Suzu, or the
really
in Japan, yeah, or it used to be.
Wow.
But
George, those Jeep pickups are all over the place down here. They're selling like hotcakes over here.
Oh, what?
No kidding.
Yeah, well, there's that big stupid green Jeep pickup truck that, you know, every twat in Smithfield has to own, you know. And they're like overly expensive. They're like a third of as much more expensive than a comparable Ford or Chevy 4-wheel drive pickup truck, and they look ridiculous. And I would love to have one, of course. It's kind of envious, but it seems like every asswipe has to have one, you know. And they never get them dirty or anything.
What sucks, they're not built good. You know, like underneath. Oh, it's too bad. I think most of it's like made in like Poland and Mexico, like Christ, all that shit. They ain't undercoating nothing.
No.
They ain't paying their workers either. It's man.
Cars ain't supposed to last more than 5 years, and that's been the paradigm for a while now. You know, it's like
you don't want any saturation.
Yeah, we want you to be constantly in the market, either paying for one or buying one. You know, that's it.
The worst thing you could hear is you have to take it to the dealer.
Yeah.
No!
Dear God, no.
Talk about evil. That's the new killers under the flower moon right there. They're in there waiting.
I told you should have bought that service contract.
Yeah,
like you fucking loser. You fucking loser.
Hey, you losers. Yeah, all right.
Hey, don't underestimate self-empathy, self-love.
Hey, man,
How about love for you? I love you guys.
Love you too,
Take care.
Man. Love you both.